Hey, my name's Christopher. I got an IQ of 175. I banged 99 models and your mother. Now, the reason why you're not rich, you're probably thinking because I'm not making a lot of money. And granted, that's true, but that's the secondary problem. There's a deeper issue as to why you're not rich, and I'm going to address that in this video. Before I get there, there's some other things I have to address, and then we're going to work backwards, and it's going to make sense to you as to why you're not rich or why you're not making as much money as you want. Now, I see this trend going on YouTube and Instagram, and people say, if you want to be rich, don't start a business. That is the dumbest shit I have ever heard in my life. The reason why they're telling you if you don't want to be rich, don't start a business, do skill stacking. The reason they're saying that to you is because none of them have actually created a business, so they can't really talk about how to create a business. And they're just mirroring where you already are in your life. So you're thinking, oh, don't start a business. That's the best thing to do. Well, I haven't started a business, so I'm going to keep listening to this guy because obviously I must be doing something right. But no, it's bullshit. When I was younger, my friend's stepdad, he told me something that I never forgot. He said, if you want to be rich, he was pretty well off. He started a business. 2 things you can do. The first thing is be best in the world at one thing. Doesn't matter what that thing is. If you're the best in the world at it, people are going to pay top dollar for it. You might be the best in the world at making shoelaces. Well, guess what? Maybe if you're the best in the world at making shoelaces, maybe Nike wants to broker a $100 million deal with you. What if you're the best in the world at making guitar strings? The list, whatever it is, if you are the best in the world at it, it literally doesn't matter what it is, you will be wealthy. It's a fact. The other thing that you can do is start a business. You know, all these people, 95% of people making between $25,000 a year and let's say $125,000 a year. Just so you know, the difference in lifestyle between $25,000 a year and $125,000 a year isn't shit. You're still working a 9 to 5 that you don't like. You get your 2 weeks of vacation every year. You know, granted, your flat screen TV might be a few inches bigger. You might have an extra room in your apartment, but the difference in lifestyle is it's insignificant. The top 1% is making $800,000 a year. That's the top 1%. They're actually living a life that is much different in a different stratosphere. Why is that? Well, because they started a business and they're generating the most money, the most revenue. It's that simple. So if you want to be rich, there's 2 things that you can do. You can be the best in the world at something, or you can start a business. Now, why I say, when people say, if you want to be rich, you shouldn't start, why it's bullshit, and they tell you you have to stack skills before you start a business. It's complete bullshit. Before you start a business, you don't know the skills that are required in the process. So why would you start stacking skills, wasting your time really, and then say, well, I'm going to start a business, and then you start a business, say, well, man, all that shit I spent time on, I'm actually not doing it here. This is other stuff. I'm going to give you a story. Jeff Bezos, he told a story about early on in Amazon days when they were just selling books. If you guys remember that, he said he had a warehouse and they put all the books on the floor and they were divided by category and author name, and they were just on the floor and they were hurting their back and their elbows and their knees trying to separate all this stuff. And he's like, oh, I got a great idea. He's like, I can get a skateboard pads and this is Jeff Bezos, by the way, get skateboard pads, put it on our knees and our elbows, and then we're not going to hurt our knees and our elbows while we're separating all these books. And he told us at a staff meeting, and one of his employees was like, Jeff, why don't we just get tables? There's a lot of things you can learn from that story. The first is that you can get so lost in a problem, the easiest solution is right in front of your face and you can't see it. But the second thing, why I'm using this story, is because when Jeff Bezos started a business, the skill stacking, like that problem he was never going to know until he started. You start, then problems come up, and then you solve them till you get to a goal. So we know that if you want to be rich, you got to start a business, or you have to be the best in the world at something. Now, these 2 things require one thing. No, it's not. You're thinking about the end result. Well, I'm not rich because I'm not making the money. But no, in order to do these 2 things, you need one thing only. And we all have it. equally. And I'm going to get to that real quick. So here's how society keeps you as a slave, keeps you down. Society projects this image to us. And I'm going to use men as an example because I'm a man here. But for women, it would be something else obvious. They project an image to us and they say, this image is success. For a guy, it's a guy with a nice watch, with a sports car, with a big house, with a lot of women, nice clothes, all this stuff. This is what success looks like. And what do? We approximate the end result, and we look for easy ways to become this image that society is selling to us, because everything is just marketing and advertising. I don't think there's some cahoots of elites controlling the world or anything like that. There might be at the upper echelon, but these people are not keeping you from achieving your dreams. Trust me. So we're given this image, and what do? We buy a bunch of bullshit because we think it's getting us closer to that. The new iPhone is nearly $1,300. So we buy this new iPhone for $1,300 on some layaway program because when we buy it, we feel like it's getting us closer to this image. And what else do? We get cars that we really can't afford because we think it's going to make us feel better and be closer to this image of success. We get an apartment or a house that we really can't afford because we think it's getting us closer to this image that society is giving to us. So then what do? Then we have to pay for this shit. How do we end up paying for it? Well, we get a 9-to-5 that we hate going to. And they say a 9-to-5, well, it's 40 hours a week. No, it's not. It's between 55 and 65 hours. You don't believe me? How many of you have a 9-to-5 where you commute 30 minutes to work? Most people do. Okay, so that's an hour added every day. So now your 40 hours is now up to 45 hours. How many of you wake up an hour and a half early, getting ready for work, thinking about work? That's the other thing. It drains you mentally. So 52 hours a week. Okay, and then you drive back home from work, and then you have to decompress for an hour and kind of relax a little bit before you do something up. That's another 5 hours. Now you're looking at 57 hours a week at this job that you fucking hate to pay for the shit that you thought was getting you closer to this thing of success. In reality, it was pulling you away from it, putting you more in debt. So now, let's get back to the solution. The thing that you need, that we all have, not the money, not the end goal, but the thing you need is time. All of us have 24 hours in a day. We all have that. It's the people who use that time wisely who are going to be more successful. And if you are trying to build a business, you can't spend 57 hours of your week getting someone else rich. Can't be done. You need time. So let's backtrack. How do we get this time? Well, let's start with the way you think people view you, because it goes back to that image society gives us. We buy this shit to look good around other people. And we're buying this shit and we get a full-time job, and then it's taking all of our time away. So we need to realize that this card, this image that society is giving us, is bullshit. And once you get rid of that, then you're going to start hearing opinions from other people. Oh, why are you shopping at the thrift store now? You used to look nice. Why did you move? Because I was paying for square footage I wasn't using so I could lower my bills, so I could increase my time, so I didn't have to work at the 9-to-5 anymore. Oh, you were driving this nice BMW, now you're driving, a Toyota. Yeah, so I didn't have to pay for it, so I don't have to work at this 9-to-5 anymore, so I can free up time to do better things with my life. See, these opinions of other people are actually going to make it really hard for you to do what's necessary. What's necessary, as I just kind of displayed here, is lowering your bills. You can realistically lower your bills to $1,000 a month with everything covered. You can find one room to sleep in at $300 a month. You don't have to drive in that car you can't afford. You don't need that new iPhone that's fucking dumb. You don't need these things. Now your bills are lowered. Now you don't have to spend 65 hours a week working at a full-time job. Now you have time to either be the best in the world at something or build a business. Here's the other thing, these opinions of people. You're going to hear opinions by people who are making like $60,000 a year. I might as well be sleeping in a camper with more freedom in my life than a $60,000 a year slaving away at some fucking job you hate because you're afraid of what people might think about you. So, back to the beginning. If you want to be rich, you need to increase your time so you can build a business or be the best in the world at something. Starts by lowering your bills. Once you lower your bills, now you don't have to work at a 9 to 5, the 57 hours a week to pay for it, pay for all this shit. That's how you do it. That's how you become rich. You build a business, you become the best in the world at something, and you soak up as much time as you possibly can in your life to do these things. There's no coincidence why super successful people built their business sleeping on their friends' fucking couches. If you don't like this video, there's 2 things that you can do. You can not watch me again. That's fine. Or you can keep working your job and not having a life of freedom where you can actually build something and keep going to the gas station buying the fucking lottery tickets because that's going to be your best bet.